All right, Bears fans, welcome back in. We got a special episode today on the 85. We're going live for the first time, so I don't know if I'll be able to see all your crazy comments or not, but I should enjoy it along the way. Adam, welcome back in. You looked extremely jet lagged from the trip. It seems like you just got back in.
Yeah, I meant to try to put some water through my hair or something. Ran out of time. Just back from O'Hare. It's 1 a.m. currently in London right now, but to be honest, I was probably up to 1 a.m. most of the nights anyway, so I should be right on schedule here.
Yeah, I mean, here you are, and you'll get reset here after this, so you can get some sleep, and you'll be right back on Central Time right after that.
Yeah, what a week though, Cole. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, obviously, this whole show is going to be about what you went through in the game. The way it played out was incredible, but just kind of speaking on all the fans and everybody that was there for the whole week, it was insane. And even the flight home today was jam-packed still with Bears fans. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And of course, the 85 is powered by Ankin Law, injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy trip. I mean, it was a lot of fun. We were obviously out there the whole week, and there was a lot of things that we got to experience starting on Tuesday, being able to kind of go out and experience the city a little bit, and then obviously Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, really getting our work in and all those things. And I know some guys were able to go back downtown to London and get some dinner on Friday night as well, and then rest up Saturday and then play the game Sunday. I thought everyone looked pretty fresh. I mean, obviously a little bit of a slow start there, but we really turned it on starting the second quarter there. And but overall, man, I mean, just an unbelievable trip, something I'll never forget. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, I thought the stadium was absolutely fantastic, and the fans were outstanding. Really one of the coolest venues I've ever played in. The locker room, I know, Adam, I don't know if you were able to see or get in the locker room at all. There was a lot of people in there after the game, but it was an unbelievable locker room. And just have that set up overseas like that, it is pretty special, and makes you want to go back for more. So it was a great trip overall, and definitely excited to be back for the bye week, but definitely a trip I'll look back on and have a lot of fond memories of.
Well, that was a good tease, because I want to hit on all of that stuff, throughout this episode with you and hear all about it. First, though, before we get into any of it, I want to make sure people are looking at the merch and checking it all out, because it's all available right now in the ALLCITY store.allcitynetwork.com, the entire 85 collection. And I think we got to start seeing that repped a little bit more in the stands now at this point. I mean, now that you're not only scoring touchdowns, but also long snapping, we got to get that going. It's inside Soldier Field, the next home game.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm pulling basically double duty here, I mean, we got to get some more t-shirts out there. There was actually a fair amount of 85 jerseys I saw in the stands, which was pretty cool to see. So that was awesome. But yeah, let's get some of that merch rolling. So yeah, please visit the ALLCITY Network store and check all that stuff out.
And just one more plug to start, because this is the first time we are going live, and we want to do a special, and you especially want to do a special episode here coming off the game in London as we go into the bye week. So make sure, if this is your first time with us, maybe you are subscribed to the 85 with Cole Kmet YouTube channel. It's a separate channel from CHGO. And so make sure you are subscribed. And also the podcast is available everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. So subscribe in both places. We greatly appreciate it. I know Cole appreciates it. So look, I know you scored touchdowns. You had this great game, but the way this thing played out, with the foreshadowing even coming on this show a few weeks ago, when I asked you about being the emergency long snapper, it was, I mean, I couldn't believe, I mean, I've covered many football games, and you're always looking for storylines and see things play out a certain way. And the second Scott Daly went down with his injury, and by the time I noticed it, you were already practicing on the sideline, which amazed me how quickly that started. Just take us through that moment. And I know you talked a little bit about it post game, but just how that started racing through your head and you understanding how that was all unfolding.
Yeah, well, obviously we just got done. I think it was a 3-and-out we had, and I know we were probably a little bit frustrated. I don't know if it was the first or I think it was the second 3-and-out that we had, or the second short drive that we had. So we're getting back, trying to figure, our shit out, trying to get things going. And obviously the punt happens, and HD comes over and tells me that he's like, Scott's down, and he's like looking at me like, and I'm like, Tyler, like thinking that it's Tyler Scott for some reason, and I'm like, all right, like what does that have to do with me? And then like it kind of clicks in my head, like, oh shit, it's Scott Daly, like our freaking long snapper who's down. So I get up immediately. He's like, you want to practice? I'm like, hell yeah, I need to practice snaps. So Torrey Taylor comes over and we start working on some of the field goal stuff, and then from the punt distance. And I'm like, holy shit, this is wild. And my tight ends coach Jim Dre is like giving me the look like, holy shit. I'm like, hey man, like we're here to play football. This is what it's about. So yeah, unfortunately, I guess fortunately and unfortunately, I am the emergency long snapper, as we talked about before. And God, I never thought it would come to that. So was able to get it done. And obviously the first touchdown, it was an adrenaline rush and all that stuff, breaking a couple tackles and getting the end zone. And was glad that like I was almost so tired because I didn't even think about it. Like I just went and did it. Whereas like maybe if I was off a play or two or whatever and came into long snap, I would have had a little more nerves going. But I was just so exhausted from the drive that I didn't even think about it and just threw that thing in between my legs, and it worked out all right. So was definitely glad to be serviceable as I could be throughout the game. I know we had that one blocked at the end, and I always feel bad for that stuff because I'm probably operationally not perfect as maybe a true professional long snapper should be. But, I did what I could there and was glad that we were at least 5 for 5 on the PATs and all that stuff. So definitely a nerve-wracking thing for sure. And, you don't want ever to come to that. And hopefully I don't have to do that ever again in my career. But kind of part of the deal of being the emergency long snapper.
Well, it's funny because as soon as that started in the game, I mean, we were getting all kinds of messages and tweets, and everybody referencing what you had said a few weeks ago on this show about, how you straight up said like you're terrified for that exact moment to play out, and then not only that, but you get the touchdown and have to do it right away. So everybody's been like tweeting me, being like, need to hear your breakdown of this. I'm like, I'm not a long snapping expert. I'm just a high school special teams coach here. Okay. We need a real expert. We need a real professional to come do this on this show. So there's no better guest for this exact moment than the longest tenured Bear in the organization's history. Patrick Mannelly is here on the 85
Let's go.
with us. And Pat, we need to hear your breakdown of how you watched all that unfold and what you thought.
Well, let's first off, Scott Daly, sorry to hear about his knee. Fellow Notre Damer, right, Cole?
Yeah, yes, sir.
It's tough to see him go down. I worked with him when he came out of high school and through college. But first, I've got to give you credit, Cole. That's pretty amazing. And I want to know this. I know you asked about how that whole situation came about during the game, but how did you learn how to long snap? Like, how old were you? Like, I was in 8th grade when I figured out it was important. I want to be able to be a good teammate and learn how to do it. Like, when did you first pick it up? Like in high school, like 8th grade, 7th grade?
I started doing it. I think the moment I'm not even kidding. The moment I started playing football, like it was like 4th, 5th grade, I started doing it. I mean, me and my brother would always be messing around in the backyard whenever we were playing baseball, football, basketball, and whether it was like trick shots for basketball or in baseball, like we do all the diving catches in the backyard, like doing all that stuff. And then for football, it was like just trying to long snap the length of the yard. Like that was kind of like the deal with it. And I think we just kind of figured it out. And it was a thing that my dad had done, my uncle had done, and my uncle had done in the league for a little bit. And, we had known, hey, if you want to play in the NFL, like it gives you a chance. And like that was kind of talked to us early. Like, if you want to make a role for yourself on the team, like this can be a separating thing. And so it was something I just kind of learned to do, not because I really wanted to be a long snapper or anything. Right. It was just more so like I thought it was kind of fun to do. Yeah. Like it was more so like just fun to do in the backyard and thing that me and my brother would kind of shoot the shit with at times. And it was fun to do and all that stuff. But I mean, never in my wildest dreams would I ever thought that it would come down to me having to, throw 6 snaps in between my legs in an NFL football game.
Yeah, but pretty well done, man. Like, honestly, well done. If you, Adam, I don't know how you want to set this up. If you want to go through each one and break it down, but It was impressive, man. You just got the natural
I do have a quick story before we do the breakdown.
Yeah.
So actually on the plane, I was watching the film, the offensive film. I didn't get to the long snaps yet, and I had somebody tap me on my shoulder, and I'm like kind of locked into the film watching it, and it was George McCaskey, and he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you're on Twitter or anything, or if you saw what Pat Mannelly said about you." And I was like, "No, I go, George, I'm not on Twitter, but I what did he say?" He's like, I guess he tweeted something like, "Forget about the touchdown. That snap was freaking awesome."
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Then I broke you down a little later. There was one that got a little high, and I was like, "Hey, we need to work on that one." But I was just having fun with you. But no, seriously, that was well done, man. Well done. But here's another question, Adam. I'm going to take over the segment here.
Go for it.
For you. All right. You score touchdowns in the NFL. You pancake block. You run routes. You beat guys on one-on-one and stuff like that. And that feels good and all right. But let me ask you this. What did it feel like after that first snap and being able to high-five a kicker and a holder and Cairo and Torrey? That had to be right up there, right?
It was an electric feeling. I'm not going to lie to you. When I turned around and those two gave me the fist pump, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!"
Yeah.
Like that was. I did get juiced up for it for sure.
The only thing I'm mad at, I watched the tape a few times. I got some breakdown here, and you only gave a fist pump. I wanted to see the swing. Like you snap a ball, you score another point. You need to hit another home run.
That's a good point.
Does the home run celebration on a snap? That would be next level.
Yeah.
That would be next level. Maybe I should have done like a cricket swing because we were in England or something. But
good call.
That could have been cool. Good call. But yeah, I definitely should have had something more dialed in, especially with Torrey and Cairo. Like we should have had something going. But I mean, that was far from my mind. But I'm just glad nothing catastrophic happened. I mean, I know we're all laughing about it now, but the reality of the situation is if. And thank God I didn't have to go for a punt either. Honestly, like
I was going to ask you about that later on. But
yeah.
How did you take your heartbeat, like your heart rate from scoring the touchdown? Because you truly, it's like a marksman, right? You got to like slow down, like an aiming a gun or whatever. You got to. How did you do? Did you slow down at all?
No, I think that
let's just take the moment and go.
What I was telling Adam is I think that actually helped me out because I wasn't thinking about it as much. So. Gotcha. I probably would have, if I was more rested, I would have more prone to like fire the snap like even harder than I should have or something like that. So because I know on those field goals, like you don't need to put as much pace as you do for the punts. Like it has to be more of a touch pass, but it's got to get back there firmly, but not not like crazy fastball or whatever.
Got to be a catchable ball as we call it.
Yeah, absolutely. So so I think it actually benefited me from being out there and scoring the touchdown, doing the celebration, and going right to the snap. So I think that actually helped the whole deal out.
Well, we can't use video on the show, unfortunately. I'd love to. I guess Pat and I will just have to keep texting the videos back and forth to each other on the side. We do have the screenshots though of the locations of these snaps.
Oh God.
Yeah, we are ready to go here.
Hey, all right, is this snap number one?
They're going to be in order, Pat. So, this is number one.
Catchable. That's all that matters. Your first snap in the NFL, catchable. Dude, you're wearing gloves.
Isn't that wild?
You just scored an awesome touchdown. Here's what's most amazing thing. You had laces on that one. Do you have any idea you had that?
No, I actually, when I do my practice snaps on Thursday, like the 2 or 3 that I do right after practice, Torrey's always like, "Dude, you actually have the when you do it, the laces show up right." I go, "I have no idea how that happens, but I'm glad to hear it." He's like, "No, it's
athlete.
like
it's being an athlete, being a long snapper. All long snappers are athletes." Yeah.
Torrey's like, "I'm actually pretty impressed by you because like I don't know how you know how to do that so well, but I'm like, yeah, that's just naturally how it comes out."
Pat, the first couple, the laces were literally
That's
perfect.
what I got here. I got 1, 2, 3 nice laces. Nailed them all.
I love that. I'll tell you what happened.
That's the first thing. Honestly, that's the first thing I watched, Cole. I was like, "Where's the dude? He just nailed the laces."
As we keep going, I'll tell you what happened after. I think it was after the third one where my hand, I banged up my hand a little bit. So that didn't
I got a question about that because I saw something on tape.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So here's snap 2, and then we could probably go right to snap 3 after that. Go ahead.
That's a lie.
High but catchable. Look at the laces. You can see the laces in Torrey's fingers. All he has to do is put it straight down. So Cairo's comfortable. So all he sees is a high ball, but he knows it's going straight down. He's going to be able to kick it and be on time.
Yeah,
I love
That's
it.
my breakdown. Yeah,
so we're through.
man.
Yeah, so we're through 2 and 3 there. Then maybe you should set this up now, Cole. So you're saying something happened with your hand in the game.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. Maybe I'm giving myself more grace. I think it actually might have been after the fourth one. I don't have an excuse for this fourth one. I think it was afterwards. But on a block, I got my hand sandwiched in between two helmets, and my hand's actually pretty bruised up today from it. But so my left hand was throbbing pretty good. We don't need any excuses. You know, it's part of the deal. But just a little reasoning as to maybe why some of the other ones weren't as good as the first three.
Well, that's another reason why we have just a long snapper. Like everybody was texting or tweeting during the thing, like, why can't they do it in positions? I'm like, because a center, they get hit all the time. It's a different snap anyway. Then also you got a banged up hand. So yeah. I'm just glad 98 that the position kind of changed for myself. But back to you.
All right, here's number. I think we're on 4 now, right? We got snap 4, which was actually the location's great, and it's a little hard to see in here, but the laces are still a little left this time, right, Pat?
It's a quarter turn outside left, yes. But easy, so he can see it. So Tori can see it. So when he catches it, if you're a quarter turn off, he can see it and he turns it easy. I call it DJing it, like DJ doing the whatever, DJing the record. So he DJs it right straight, and he has Cairo has perfect steps right in the kick and makes it easy.
So Tori's got to just make me a little bit right on that one.
You were off a little. I'll be honest with you. You were off a little.
See, this is good stuff, though, because people don't realize this in the NFL. Like, that's the expectation.
That matters. I would go back to Brad Maynard or Adam Polish, my punters, and be like, my bad. But you don't have a reason to say my bad, whatever. But I'm breaking it down through my lenses, through these 50-year-old eyes that I'm looking through.
I think I said my bad after every single snap because I felt bad if I was fucking up the operation for Cairo or for Tori.
They were good.
All right, number 5 now. Little high.
Here's my breakdown. You got too comfortable. You got confident. Yeah, you just like, it's just only 8 yards. I just got to throw it back there. And you got a little soft on it. And then your palms got high. I don't know if you can see me on the thing here, but instead of like getting your arms through and your thumbs facing forward, I saw your hands, your palms came up a little high. It's just, that's me breaking you down. But you look like you got comfortable. Like, this is easy. This is no problem.
I got complacent with it.
Yeah, you did. You did a little bit.
So good.
It's funny.
And then what do you think about number 6 here? Because this was the one that got blocked. We move hashes for the first time.
All right, I got to get on you. You're a tight end. You like contact. You got to get Roy Robinson Harrison a little bit. You got to give Karan a little more help. Chicago guys need to lean into the Chicago guy and lean a little right. That's like the next level stuff. All you had to do is worry about the snap. That's right. If I'm Richard Hightower, I'm telling Karan, hey, lean into Cole, man. Just let him take care of the snap. That's the overloaded side. I know I'm getting a little heavy on this, but you got to lean a little afterwards to take care of the A-gap. Here's the thing is, you're never going to have to do that again in your career, so don't worry about it. Well done. You're done one time. You got an A+. As an emergency long snapper, you did well, man.
I appreciate it. I'm just glad I'm glad it went somewhat smoothly. I know we had the one miss, the block there, that last one, but yeah, I'm just glad I didn't like screw up Cairo's like PAT average or anything like that. Like that's all I was worried about for him.
That's what happens. I mean, it happens. You did an awesome job, man. Congrats.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So I maybe we'll have to have you out. I maybe in the off season I'll come work with you and we can get some things going.
No. You never have to do this again. If you do it once, you never have to do it. Real quick story. I talked to Greg Olson today because he was the backup long snapper when he first came into the league when I was there.
Yep.
There were a couple times that Dave Tobe made him take snaps in the preseason games. Mm-hmm. And he's like, dude, I hated doing that. I'm like, you never took one in the regular season? He's like, no. And he just wanted to say to you, credit to you, man. Well, job well done.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pat, before you go, can we see that shirt? I don't know with the camera.
Oh, yeah. Well, now there's somebody else in this can wear this, right? Can we back up? I don't know.
He's got the autofocus camera, so he's got the obvious shirt that says only long snappers can read this. It's upside down.
There we go.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
We got to get you one.
Yeah, I need it. I'll rep it. I'll rep it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Sounds good, man.
I love it.
Patrick,
Congrats on a great year, by the way. Keep it going.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Pat. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. I appreciate the breakdown. I appreciate the honest breakdown too. You didn't sugarcoat it. That was good stuff.
No, man. You can't.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. Well, I appreciate all your support, and hopefully we'll keep this thing rolling as the season goes. But it was fun. It was fun for one day, but hopefully never again for me.
Never again. You're done, man. You're done. You nailed that test.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you coming on.
Yep. See ya.
Hey, real quick before we keep this rolling, because I still have a million questions about London. We want to, and by the way, real quick, there was a good report today on Scott Daly that I know it was the knee. Honestly,
yeah, I don't know what came out. He was looking all right. So there was a report that came out.
Yeah, I think Tom Pelissero put out that he's day to day. So
yeah.
That's especially once I went back and watched the film, it didn't look pretty. So that was good news. And obviously Patrick Scales, still hoping he comes back soon as well. So let's just remember that day in London is the only time in your career you actually have to do that.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. Yes, hopefully that's the case. Crazy.
We got about 1,000 people watching live here too on our first ever episode that we're doing live of the 85, and we want to get people subscribed. I think our guy Steven has let's get those numbers up. Yeah, we got to get to at least 14 by the end of this episode here, and then we got to keep it climbing. So guys, please continue to subscribe, send it, show your friends, all that type of stuff. So yeah, we need the subscribers to come up. Oh, there we go. There's a tick up there. So let's get it to 14,000 before the end of this episode. Absolutely. And with the amount of fans we saw in London, and even, on my flight home in O'Hare Customs today, I mean, there's a number of people that I was already telling people, hey, you got to tune in tonight. You got to subscribe. So we welcome everybody new to the show. And of course, you can always listen to this as a podcast. Make sure you go subscribe to the podcast feeds as well. Do need to thank our sponsors too here, Cole, and the 85 with Cole Kmet is presented by Ankin Law. Howard Ankin is a third-generation lawyer in Chicago and has built one of the largest injury law firms in the state. Howard Ankin is a member of the Illinois State Bar, Illinois Trial Lawyers Association, the American Association for Justice in Washington, D.C., and president of the UIC Law Alumni Association. Ankin Law has over 90 attorneys and staff and is based in Chicago with offices right off of Dearborn in Chicago and is in Rosemont, Schaumburg, and Orland Park, the leading filer of workers' compensation and personal injury cases in Illinois as well. And when it comes to Ankin's commercials, the brand has always been aligned with Chicago sports for over a decade. They especially like to associate themselves with Chicago athletes long associated with Chicago or from Chicagoland, such as Io DeSumo, Nicky Lopez, Chris Chelios, and of course, here, Cole Kmet, an intake department of 16 people, including 2 attorneys. Ankin Law takes the time to listen to the people who contact them. Even if they don't sign the case, they try to steer the people who contact them in the right direction to get you the help that you need. After all, Ankin Law is injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more. And the 85 is also brought to you by Circa Sportsbook. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hey, Cole, last thing, I don't want to spend this whole show on the long snapping thing, but I did want to bring up, because I'll be honest, my instinct in that moment after you score the touchdown and you're running around was I actually thought Flus should burn a timeout to just get you to gather yourself.
I think that would have been the worst. You can't ice your own long snapper. That would have been the worst thing for me. I understand what you're saying, but for me, that would have been the worst case scenario.
No, and that's why it was super interesting hearing you say that after the game too, like that it helped you just to go. And by the way, my reasoning was based on personal experience, because at Carmel last couple of years actually, our holder was also one of our most electric players on the team, and so he he would score, 40, 50-yard touchdowns. The only time we ever had an issue with a hold, because he was a really good holder, was after he's like gassed after like a 40 or 50-yard touchdown or something like that. So we eventually got a rule in there that, okay, the backup holder would go in if he was scoring along. So that's where my head was at as a coach in that moment. Sure. But obviously I was wrong on that, because you're like, no, just get the snap off and go. And it worked.
Just get this thing over with. Yeah, that was the thing. And okay, one other thing, I'm kind of getting this info a little live here. So just to wrap up the whole long snapper thing, but be on the lookout. I could be. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Could be special teams player of the week. We'll see if that comes out.
No
tomorrow.
Way.
It might happen. It might happen. So we'll see. I think they might be announcing that tomorrow, but we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that lands.
That would be incredible.
That would be incredible. It'd be incredible.
When's the last time a long snapper even won that award?
Another great question.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing we do know is that I don't know that a long snapper's ever scored 2 touchdowns in a game, too. And let's talk about those plays to start with. First of all, the first one, which we haven't even talked about yet, and that's mostly on me probably, is it was cool, the whole long snapping thing, but the touchdown itself was insane. To give you a little context, I was actually in the stands with my family for this game. First time I've been in the stands since 2009, and first time I've ever been able to go to a Bears game with my wife and kid, my son James. And so like that was just awesome. We happened to be in that end zone where you catch that ball. I want to hear about the play, but then you chuck those 2 guys to get in, celebrate. Now you got to go long snap. I mean, that whole, just from being in the stands, I can tell you, it felt like unreal that it all just played out, especially with the context of you having talked about that type of thing a couple weeks ago on this show.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, I heard from everybody that I knew from the game. I had some family there, and some of my really good friends were actually at the game as well. And they said like the vibes in the stadium were just awesome. And then obviously the context of the whole situation was crazy too. But that play, I mean, first, like a really cool play and a cool play design, obviously by Shane, and something that he's ran before in Seattle. And I think a few other teams have run as well. We had it in for this week, and you fake the double screen. Caleb did a really good job with that. I have to block the end a little bit. I actually think I probably could have done a better job of staying on the end a little bit longer. But once I saw that backer fly, I was wanting to get out of there to get downfield to get the ball. So once I know that backer kind of vacates and chases the screen, I know I'm going to be wide open down the middle of the field, and then I got to do the rest on the safeties. So we saw too high, and Caleb put a good ball to me down the middle, and the left side safety came up and just kind of took a half man of him, lowered my shoulder, was able to shed him, and then the other corner was coming in to try to make the play, and was able to give enough and extend there in the end zone. I'm definitely going to get hit with unnecessary extending the football in that situation. We teach that you gotta lock it up and all those things, but there was no way I was going to be being let down there at the 1. So glad to get the ball in the end zone there, and I thought it was good to give us a spark there. I know we were down 3-0. And we kind of hit a lull in the beginning of the game, with the 2, I think it was 2 3 and outs. So, to be able to get points on the board there. And then obviously the next touchdown as well before the half, going up 14-3. And then, I think from there, we really just dominated the game in every asset. And obviously Caleb just played an unbelievable game. Probably his best game as a pro. I know we'll probably hit and talk about the interception he threw. That's probably the one play that he wants back. But everything else just super flawless, and the throws that he was able to make throughout the game. And I thought you were able to see him use his legs a little bit more, which is really cool. So I think he just really showed you why he's the number 1 overall pick, and why we got him. And it was cool to see us take that next step.
Yeah. We should talk about Caleb a little bit on that, because some of those throws he was fitting those windows in. It seemed like the timing, the rhythm, just being comfortable was all sort of just clicking as that game went along. And I don't get to watch a lot of games from the end zone angle, but that is actually really beneficial sometimes when you're seeing those windows open up from behind. And I don't know what it felt like. You obviously being on the field with him, maybe sideline vibes, whatever. But did it seem like after that slow start, just something started to come together? In that game.
Yeah, I think we just got settled in a little bit more, and once you can really get, I think for us, getting that first down is big, and once we were able to do that, I thought we were able to start the flow really well, and I think it started with the QB run that we had, where he has the option to hand it off or keep it depending on the end, and I thought Rome and I did a good job of taking care of our blocks, and he's able to capture the edge there, get out of bounds, and I think an underrated thing about Caleb, obviously he has the ability to extend plays in the pocket, but also his ability to run is good as well, and he does a good job of protecting himself too. I like the way that he runs, and even when he's running in traffic with guys, he has enough suddenness where he catches a half of a man instead of a full man. And I think that's big, especially as a quarterback, where you're not taking those full body blows. So maybe you take half of a hit instead of a full hit from a guy or from a safety that's coming downhill pretty hard. And I think he does a good job with that. And obviously all the sliding and all that stuff. And that's all really good to see. So I think for us, it's really about getting that first down and getting in the flow of the game like that. And once we're able to get that started with the, and being in rhythm and all those things, it really starts to open up for us, and really things start to click more.
And the play right before your second touchdown was a Caleb run, to set you guys up with 1st and goal, right at the end of the half. Put you kind of in a situation where you really couldn't run the ball with no timeouts, and yet you guys scored right away on that first play. Looked like a little rub combination on the right, and you were able to just kind of lose your guy and sneak out to the corner.
Yeah, I think that was a mess up on their part. To me, it looked like it was pre-snap. To me, it looked like man-to-man across the board, and for some reason, the backer just totally dropped me, and I was able to run to the back pylon there, and Caleb put up a good ball so that the corner couldn't fall off and make a play on it. So good stuff there all around, and obviously taking advantage of a mistake by them, it seemed like. So, and I thought that was big going into the half. I think they had a lot of momentum to start the game. Defense makes a good stop to make it 3-0 instead of them getting a touchdown, and to be able to go into half with a 2-score lead is always big. And you feel a little bit more comfortable going into half in that regard and in that way, and especially since I think we started with the ball, so we were going to be kicking to them, if I remember correctly. To get that 2-score lead was big going into half, and I think really from there, everything really fell into place. Defense played really well, and we were able to run the ball really efficiently, hit some really good explosives.
So nothing gets lost in me on the film. I got to bring this up. Second touchdown. I think we have the screenshot from the touchdown. I noticed you found a guy with an 85 jersey, and he's pointing at it. You guys made eye contact, and then you dapped him up. I mean, did you know him, or was that just coincidence?
No, that was total coincidence. I always tell people, if you want like a signature from me, or like you want me to notice you, wear my jersey. Then I'm going to go right to you. So for all the fans that are listening, that go to the games all the time, that are near the tunnel that we come out, and you're asking for autographs the 2 hours before the game, I'm usually going to try, I'm pretty locked in, and I'm doing my thing. But if you throw an 85 jersey over the tunnel there, and you have it, I'm going to sign the 85 jersey. That's 100%. So, when I scored the touchdown, I mean, it's not like I was looking for it. It was just right in my face, and I saw the dude and gave him a dap up there. So that was pretty cool to see. Those are always fun moments for me when I see somebody with my jersey on.
I mean, what a perfect moment. He's got the beer in the left hand, pointing at the 85 on the other. And
that's gonna be cool for him. I mean, he's wearing my jersey, and I scored a touchdown right in his face. I think that's pretty awesome. That's cool stuff.
I want to rewind back to something you said earlier too. At the first touchdown, so it's not a 4th and goal situation. That's pretty much the only time the coaches will let you extend the ball over the end, the end line. That's got to be one of the toughest things though for any player to actually stick to, because especially like you said, you're that close. There's no way you're gonna be like, okay, fine, let me sit down here at the half-yard line.
Well, it's just not in our DNA either as players. You want to score. You have the mentality every time you get the ball that you're going to score. You're going to score a touchdown. And it was funny before the game, Austin Reed and Tyson we were talking about that play. Like if we got in that scenario, because we like that play going in the game, they're like, you better not get tackled at the 1 yard line. So that was in my head as well too. And when I caught the ball and just saw that one safety coming down and just knew I had to beat him there. I was like, there's no way. And once I broke that tackle, I was like, there's no way I'm not getting this end zone here. So definitely extend to finish there, and I'll eat whatever minus I get on the grade sheet for that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, that makes it. Oh, there it is right there. Good job keeping the calf and the knee up too, to make sure that you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that like side of your leg will go down, and then they review it, but they're super.
Well, that's
high,
what I was worried about, and so thankfully that didn't happen. And when I was lined up over the ball, getting ready to long snap it, I was like, all right, please confirm this, and sure enough, they did. So all good stuff there.
All right. Well, before we move on to the bye week, just any other final thoughts? Anything, stories from London? Anything that you want to share? I mean, what was it like spending the whole week there?
Oh, I mean, it was a blast. I thought we did it right. I know that there's a lot of thought that goes into a week like this. I've heard of teams that leave on Thursday and then they play the game Sunday. I've heard from guys that obviously have spent the whole week, and I was a guy that I enjoyed going the whole week, and I thought that was beneficial for the play time, for how we felt during the game. But I'm sure there was guys that wish that maybe we left a little bit later. I know that there's a mental aspect of it, of especially with where we were staying. We're pretty far from the city and pretty isolated out there, and it's not that easy just to go in town and go to a restaurant or whatnot on the night off or whatever it might be. So I thought it was well done by the whole organization. I thought Flus did a good job, and our whole support staff was amazing. So I was glad to get out there early. We had a lot of fun Tuesday night. I went to a chop house, so it was like a bar vibe, but they had all these like really awesome steaks, and we really enjoyed that. So crushed a few beers there and had a few steaks, which was a lot of fun, and went out for a little bit, and then the next day, Wednesday, was obviously the walkthrough and getting back to work in that regard. But overall, just an awesome trip, and something I'll never forget. And I'm hoping we get another international game next year, and whether that's in London or in Spain or in Germany or whatever they're going to have it. I obviously hope it's in a good city and preferably in Europe, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. That's for sure.
Yeah, it could be in Madrid, because
that'd be cool.
I think I've already said there is a game in Madrid next year. That's the plans, and the Bears do have marketing rights in Spain as well. That was super cool, by the way. Just talking to the fans that actually are from the UK and why they're Bears fans, and they said it goes really back to the 80s when the team was good, and that was really the first time that games were televised internationally. So you had Walter Payton, you had the Bears, and then right after that, you get the Michael Jordan wave, the guy right behind me here in my background, and that kind of takes over internationally too. So Chicago just kind of became the place for a lot of those fans, and it was you had a ton of fans from the states that made it out there. And then you had a lot of the local fans that were Bears fans. And then you had a lot of local fans that were just wearing like random jerseys from every team in the league too. So it was an interesting crowd.
Yeah. Well, I think that's cool for sure too, is you see the NFL support that it has overseas. And, it's definitely evident that the game is growing over there. And it was cool. I talked to a few people that from there, and it seemed that the game has really grown, especially in the recent years. So it's cool to see the game expand like this, and I think playing these games overseas, you can definitely see the benefit that it has in terms of making the NFL a global thing. That's for sure.
So how are you feeling big picture wise? You get this little timed up break. You're basically a third of the way through the season. Got the international trip out of the way, now a bye week. Just what's kind of the big picture vibe that you guys are having right now, 4-2 at this juncture?
Well, it was funny. I was watching the game last night, and at halftime when they do the recaps of all the games from the week, and when they got the name like Chicago Bears or Minnesota Vikings or Indianapolis Colts, and then they got your record next to it, and it's like really nice seeing the 4-2 record. Like that looks good, you know, and I don't know if that makes sense, but like that
100%.
like looks good. And I haven't had that before. Like, you know, like it looks good. Like 4-2, like Chicago Bears 4-2, like that looks good. So I think we put ourselves in a good position here in the first third of the season, and we like to break it down in that regard once you get your schedule and, you know, these first 6 games, the next 6, and then obviously what the final 5. So you kind of break it into thirds like that. And in this first 6 before the bye, we knew we had to have a strong showing, and to be 4-2 and sitting where we're at right now, I think we feel pretty good about it. And I mean, obviously there's things that you want back, and you look back at the 2 losses we had that you wish you had back, but in the landscape of things in the NFL, to be 4-2 through 6 weeks is a good spot to be in. It just so happens that our division is like unbelievable this year, which is crazy. But we'll get to those guys down the road here, and you know, we want to be in the upper echelon of the NFL, and you know, to be able to be in the division that we're in, I think it's such a great opportunity. And we're going to be playing in some pretty big games here coming up, especially as the season goes. So, you know, I know we got Washington coming up, we got Arizona, and then the Patriots. I think those are all before the division games really start for us, and those are all 3 going to be really big games for us to go into, and we're excited about it. And those are the games that we kind of need to have to set us up going into the division, just because our division is so strong. So, you know, there's obviously the aspect of we take things one game, 1 week at a time and all that stuff. But I think it's a good time here at the bye week to kind of take a step back to see where we're at, where we need to get better at. And there's a lot of things that we can get better at. I don't think we've played our best football yet, which is really cool to say. And there's a lot of things that we can still be better. But yeah, we got 3 really good opportunities coming up here before the division games begin. And I think we're excited about where things are headed. We got a really good group of guys in the locker room. And I think guys are really starting to see what we can be this year. And obviously the defense has continued to be great and do what they do with the takeaways. And I think offensively we started to click here and figure some things out. But, you know, if we want to beat these upper echelon teams in the NFL and beat these teams in our division coming up, there's a lot of things that we still got to get corrected going forward. You know, if we want to win those games.
Yeah, I you know, it's easy to get caught up in the schedule and kind of like who you're playing at certain points. And I think everybody is under the realization that this thing's going to get tougher, you know, in November and December. But I think you also can look back at these first 6 weeks, Cole, and I mean, look at how this thing just ended coming back from London compared to even after week 1, you guys won that game. And yet I know you guys didn't feel great at all offensively about that game at all. So just to see the growth there from week 1 through week 6 is just a good reminder that things can change quickly in this league for good or bad, depending on how the ebbs and flows go. But just because the schedule's getting harder doesn't mean that you guys aren't going to keep getting better.
No, for sure. I think in terms of when we play better teams, there's mistakes that you just can't get away with. And I think you look at, you know, your operation, your penalties, and these are all things that are like that you control as a unit. You know, I think you look at, you know, you look at some of the throws Caleb made this past week. Like, to me, those are all transferable to any game you play in. Like, I don't care who you're playing against. A tight window throw is a tight window throw. A tight window catch is a tight window catch. All those type of things. But when it comes down to the operation of the units, whether it's special teams, defense, offense, and, you know, being good in staying ahead of the chains and all those type of things, those are the things that you have to do against the better teams in the NFL. And because the margin just gets so much thinner, and they're already thin. I don't care if you're the number 1 team in the NFL going against 32. At some point, and this is, I think, every year I've played, every team has beaten every other team. So like, you're susceptible to lose to anybody. But if you want to compete against the you know, the big dogs of the league, like the top 8 teams of this league, and obviously make a run in the playoffs, so you got to be so sound operationally. And those are the things that we got to just continue to prove on as the weeks go on here. And I think those are things that we've gotten better at, you know, from the start of the season to now. I think you look at, you know, like you mentioned, the first week in Tennessee, like we got lucky there with the win. I mean, our defense really bailed us out there, and we as an offense, we just didn't play well enough that game to deserve to win that game. But we get the win there, and obviously the next 2 weeks of what happened. But I think that second half of the Colts game has kind of really what sparked us going forward here. And you know, I've liked what we've done so far in the past couple weeks. And you know, I know maybe people might say that, you know, those are 2 inferior teams that we've played, and sure, but they're still NFL teams. Those two teams still got professional players that those guys get paid a lot of money too. And this is not, again, this is like not college football stuff. So to win the way we have, it has been awesome, but we got to continue this thing going forward here.
I love all the comments rolling in about how they're subscribing for the first time here. Stevie, can we look at that subscriber count again? Because I believe it's shot way over 14,000.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling here as the episode goes. This is good stuff. I like to see this.
100%. And obviously doing this live has been great. The bye week kind of allowing us to do that. And Cole, there was some news today. We talked a couple weeks ago, I think going into the Sunday night game, just about those big windows and those opportunities. Even London provided that. It's a little bit of a different window, but it was an exclusive window at 8:30 in the morning back home. And obviously there were a lot of eyes on the game and the game that you had. And then I landed to the news today, and I kind of thought this would happen. I think you did too. But the game against Washington flexed to the late afternoon window, which people don't realize is actually the highest rated window of all the windows. Right. It's not prime time; it's late afternoon, and it'll be Jim Nance, Tony Romo on the call as it's Caleb Daniels. Wow, Caleb Daniels. There you go. That's the jet lag right there. It just came out. Yeah. Caleb Williams versus Jada Daniels. It'll be a fun matchup.
Yeah, I was excited to see it flexed. I think it's a game that should be flexed based on how both of our teams are doing right now. And I like seeing the flex game just because I get a little more rest on Sunday. It's like the perfect time to play because you get to sleep in a little bit, but then you're up and playing. You're not having to wait all day. Whereas I feel like those Sunday night games, you're just waiting all day to get to the stadium, and then you finally go, and then you get back super late at night. So I think that's like the perfect time to play at. It'll be a cool atmosphere there in Washington D.C. It'll be a lot of fun. So, and obviously the storyline between Caleb and Jaden, 1 and 2 picks, both guys, doing some really awesome stuff right now, especially as rookies. And I think it'll be a really fun matchup. But I'm really excited about it. I'm obviously going to enjoy the week here, but it's a game that I know that we'll all be up for. We'll be really excited to be a part of, and it's cool to see that thing flexed to the prime. I would consider one of the prime time slots.
Yeah, and a slot. Honestly, the Bears don't get to play in too much. It just doesn't seem like it for whatever reason.
I think the only games I've played in that slot that I can think of are the Packers game last year, the start the season, I believe was that slot.
Yeah, it was.
And then I remember a random Indianapolis slot where we played in that game. And I'm sure there was a couple of games when we played out west that you play in that slot. But it's a cool slot to play in, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's as you guys continue to arrive here on the scene, and you were just talking about that 4-2 record. It just looks nice, right? And so things like that are going to continue to happen.
It looks way better than 3-3. Like you just, it is way better. So yeah, it's a good spot to be in for sure. We've set ourselves up nice here for the first 6 weeks, but obviously as we all know, it doesn't mean anything if you don't do anything going forward here. But definitely a good position to be in through week 6.
Bye week plans.
Man, I was planning to go somewhere, but after I got on the flight to London, I was thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to want to get on a flight when I get back home from London. So I'm definitely happy that I didn't do that. I'm staying around in Chicago area. I'm going to get some golf in. So I'm looking forward to that still while the weather is somewhat nice. So get some good fall ball in there. And then I'll head down to the city for a few days here later on the week, which I'm looking forward to as well. But kind of just going to enjoy the fall vibes of Chicago while it's still here, because as we all know, when that temp drops and the snow comes, it becomes a pretty dark and cold place for a little while.
Yes, it definitely does. And it does look like the weather is going to be pretty nice for at least one more week.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like I get annoyed with winter more than like most even do. And the only thing I had to complain about in London the entire week was that it was like 75 and sunny back home. I was like,
yeah, I didn't even look at the weather back home. Honestly, I was having such a good time in London. I didn't even think about it. But I mean, I assume that's the weather in London most of the time, kind of dreary and gray and all that stuff.
Yeah, it kind of seemed that way, but I mean, the city was awesome and everything. I feel you on like kind of just deciding the rest of the week, because we decided to jet off, take a train to Paris yesterday, because we had an extra day before coming home, and it was cool. Don't get me wrong, but it was like, that was a little too much, maybe a little bit too much, just with the festivities of the entire week. So by the time we got on that plane this morning, I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready to be home. So
yeah, time to go back.
It was.
Yeah, it was a good week, that's for sure.
You got a question for me on the way out?
Yeah. Okay. So kind of going into the primetime stuff. Is the Sunday morning a primetime slot? Would you consider that a primetime slot at 8:30?
Ooh. Well, it depends how you define primetime. I always thought, I mean, technically, no. Primetime is a window defined by like advertisers.
Sure.
On network television from like, I don't know what the exact, 7 to 10 in Chicago, 8 to 11, whatever that official window is. I always look at it, Cole, as like exclusive windows in the NFL calendar. So like it doesn't, I always call it exclusive windows. When you're the only game on, we know it's the NFL. People, it's the one sport that people are going to turn on.
No matter the time.
Yeah. Oh, it's an NFL game. Does not matter which two teams are playing. If it's the only game on, people are turning on. I know I do. So I think that's why it's cool.
Which is quite remarkable if you really think about it. Like, if you had a random baseball game on a Thursday night, no one's watching it. Like, sure, maybe if it's, Yankees, Red Sox, or, Cubs, Cardinals, like, you're going to tune in. But, I mean, the NFL, you could get any sort of matchup and people are going to tune in, which is unbelievable. And it just shows you kind of where the sport's at right now and where the league is at and the popularity of it. But people are just itching for football. And, I know, like, I was watching the games the other day, and even last night when we first turned it on, even though that game was a brutal watch with all the penalties, it was terrible to watch. But besides the point there, you turn on the game, it's a spectacle. I mean, it is unbelievable to watch on television. And, for me, when I'm playing, I don't really notice like all the hoopla around it that goes into it with the game and the broadcasting and all those type of things. But when you're on your couch, I mean, man, is it made for television? It's pretty spectacular to watch.
There's been chatter that there might be a Super Bowl in London. Now that you've been in that stadium, like, can you see that happening? I mean, because I can.
So I at first thought that there's no way they'd take that away from the U.S., like taking away that game from the U.S., like, because it is like a holiday for us at this point. But now that I've been there, and obviously you understand the TV deals is what matters for the NFL. Like, people are still going to tune into the Super Bowl whether it's in London or not. I don't know what time it would be there to line up here. I mean, they'd figure all that out, but that, at least where we played in Tottenham, like, that setting is primed for a Super Bowl, I think. I can't tell you, that was the best locker room I've ever been at a stadium in the NFL. The best locker room ever. And the locker room we were in, they only use it for the NFL games. They don't use it for any of the, European football. I'll be respectful when I say the European football teams when they go play in there. So the locker room was just absolutely outstanding. I thought the vibes of the stadium were awesome, but I think it's definitely a place that could host a Super Bowl. And I don't see why they wouldn't do it. Honestly, they're going to sell it out, the stadium, easily. You'll get a ton of people to come out for the game if necessary. It's not like, obviously we all talk about how long the flight is there, but it's not doable. You're going to get whatever teams are in that Super Bowl, they're going to make the trip to London and make a trip for it. And it's I thought it was such a great city for it. So I could definitely see that happening one day for sure.
To me, the only logistical issue is what time kickoff is. Because
let's think about
Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's been at the same time. I don't know if it's been the same time since Super Bowl I. It feels like, it's been the same time my entire life.
Yeah.
And you would have to move it to an earlier kickoff time in America to be able to have a reasonable kickoff time in London. Because otherwise, it's 5:18, I think is what it usually is. So that's
like 11:30.
Yeah, you're not doing that. So you'd have to move it up at least a few hours. I mean, you could do like a 9 p.m. local kickoff, but
yeah, I think you could. I mean, I still feel like you know how it is on Super Bowl Sunday. Like the whole day is shot. Everyone's just getting ready to go to the watch the game. So, I mean, I even feel like if you had the game and it's a 2:30 start here or 3:30 start here, is that really affecting it that much? I don't know. I mean, because it goes late already with the halftime and all those things. Like, I don't think that hurt it that much, but I'll be interested to see what they do down the road.
Yeah, no, the ratings will still be there, obviously.
For sure.
And if they keep growing the game internationally, that would probably help. All right. I think Steven has something before we go.
Yeah.
That he found.
So I was just looking at the top corner of my laptop here, and I saw it was October 15th.
Just coming in here.
Do either of you guys know why that's significant?
October 15th being significant?
Mm-hmm. For the Bears.
For the Bears. Not off the top of my head.
15th. I don't.
Today marks exactly 1 year since the Bears last lost a home game.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been an entire year. The last loss was to the Minnesota Vikings on October 15th of 2023.
Wow.
Okay.
And that was the game Tyson Bagent came in after Justin got hurt.
Yeah, I think that was. Right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah, I just looked up there. I'm like, wow, this is significant. I couldn't remember why, and I looked back. I'm like, that's what it was.
So does Sunday's win count as a home win?
Great question. That's a great question.
I don't even know. It was technically a home game. It felt like a home game. I mean, the graphics, the scoreboard, the music.
I'm gonna be real, man. They should just copy that stadium for us. I mean, holy cow! I thought it was great. I mean, it was one of the best home field experiences I've had. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I saw Braggs put up a thing about the painted end zone. I agree. I think we should paint the end zone blue. I think that was awesome. I thought that looked great. So I think there were some things that we could take from the stadium that we just played in that we could maybe implement, whether it's at Soldier or, in the new stadium that they're building. But I mean, just an awesome atmosphere. But I think we could count it as a home victory. I'll take that.
I mean, walking out of the stadium ran into Tim Sinclair, who's the PA announcer at all the home games. He was out there. He made the trip. I mean, everything was. It felt like a game. It felt like you were at just Soldier Field, but nicer and newer. Now the only difference, I've already said, they're putting a roof on it, Cole. So it's not going to be open air like that, but just make it a little, just a glass that over and everything else the same. It's great.
No, they had everything going. And when it was my favorite thing they do at the state, I don't know why this is my favorite thing, but when it's third down and they go, it's bear down, it's third down. And like you heard that, I'm like, oh shit, he's here too. He made the trip. That's freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, it was good stuff. But yeah, I mean, we're excited about what's to come here. Just wrapping things up now, but a good first third of the season for us. We obviously got a long way to go here, and obviously the division games are coming up, and what a division that we got to play in, and it'll be a lot of fun. And I think we're ready for that challenge, and we're excited for that challenge. We're not going to shy away from it, but a lot of good stuff here to come, and looking forward to the preview. We'll do an episode preview next week for the Washington game. But again, I appreciate all you guys listening. Continue the subscribers, and this has been a lot of fun so far this year. And we'll keep this thing rolling.
Absolutely. And no game this week, but we'll just say the bye week is presented by Circus Sports this week. Download the Circus Sports Illinois app at circusports.com/Illinois-app. And the 85 is always powered by Ankin Law, injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more. We'll talk to everybody next week. Hit that subscribe button.
Appreciate you guys.